Hi guys, I'm Sean. This is Alyssa. Gus is right here. And this is Internet Rabbit Hole Daily. And we are back, folks. It's been a while since we've checked in on what's going on with the farmers' protests. At least with you guys, you know, we keep on top of it, but we haven't been doing too many videos over the last few days. But a lot of you have been requesting us to do a reaction to this one that just came out from Vox. So obviously this is a North American
it came out yesterday
channel
as of when we are filming right now.
And it's already got like 500,000 views. Ton of you have asked us to check it out, so I'm ready to just jump right into it.
Let's just jump right in.
This is one of the busiest highways leading
The
to
Singhu
Delhi.
border.
It's been blocked for weeks.
Well,
Tens of thousands.
Is it the busiest, regardless of it being like in general? It's just the busiest highway.
Oh, I don't know about that.
I thought it. I don't know.
Is that
but
what
it
they
said?
said?
It said
Yeah.
this is the busiest highway, and then it says it's been blocked.
Oh, wow. Okay, yeah, that's a very, very interesting. I heard that they were major highways. Now, this is where we watched the Scoop Boot video. So this is all sort of coming back to this one border here.
I'm just curious, what is there detour routes to get where people are trying to go?
I'm not really sure. Maybe some of you guys can let us know. Like, how are people sort of getting by is what you're saying?
If someone is trying to like travel from New Delhi to somewhere else, like how are they?
I'm not sure.
Oh, sorry, I muted it for some reason. I pressed an extra button.
Farmers from the northern states of India have marched to the capital city to protest farming reforms. They've covered at least 5 major highways around the city. The police met them with tear gas and water cannons, but they made it through and have now set up camp in and around Delhi.
Hey, look at all that food. Wow, 6 months or a year, no problem.
They're in it for the long haul. Would she say if they want to send us back, we'll go back? What'd she say?
Yeah, something along those lines. I think what she means is...
If they want to send us back tomorrow, we'll go back.
I think what she means is that if they, scrap these laws and do what they're saying, then they could be gone tomorrow. Because I've heard that with some of the other ones. It's like, hey, if you guys,
like, we'll
agree to our demands, we'll be out of here.
Like that with the snap of a finger.
Yeah.
Just be like, Kate, repealing the laws. Is that how you say appealing? Repealing?
Repealing.
Yeah.
I don't know. Dismantling.
This is all happening because Prime Minister Modi's government has passed new farming laws that will change how the agricultural industry has worked for decades. And in a country of 1.4 billion people, where agricultural workers make up half of the labor force, the repercussions of those laws
are tremendous.
Could be devastating. In the 1960s, India, a recently independent country, was struggling to produce enough food for its citizens.
Oh, I like how it's going back in history. I gotta say,
this is pretty awesome.
Yeah, because all the other videos just sort of talked about the issues currently, but they never went back to farming in the 1960s.
I don't think we've really watched any that have sort of stuck the two together, because I've seen a bit about the history, and then of course I've seen a lot about the more of the contemporary issues, and this video is putting it both together.
Yeah.
A string of droughts made things worse, causing devastating famines. So the government stepped in to modernize farming and increase the food supply in what was called the Green Revolution. They brought in U.S. advisors to help boost the production of rice and wheat. Together, they ended up overusing chemical fertilizers, pesticides, and irrigation.
Oh, so people were telling us this in the comments, I believe.
Yeah, a lot of this information came from you lovely folks on Instagram.
The fertilizers and all that stuff, or the GMOs kind of wrecked things. It's never bring in the U.S. farming people. They're just going to
see what happens.
Screw
large
things
plots
up.
Of land to become infertile. Many crops suffered. Some nearly disappeared. But rice and wheat production soared. And soon, India went from having a
I wonder why
crisis.
that is. Just rice and wheat soared, but all the other stuff wasn't great.
I think there's a number of different reasons, but we don't dare get into that now.
To having a food surplus. It was in this context that India also developed a nationwide food marketing system to ensure fair prices. It's a complex system, and it differs from state to state.
I like the animations.
Here's one way to understand it. It starts with farmers bringing their crops here to wholesale markets locally known as
the mandis.
See, this is good for me because I'm a visual learner. So we had people talk about the mandis and all this, and I like had a hard time conceptualizing it and what it really. I kept asking like, okay, so the mandi is just like they just go there. Like I like how it's got the system is sort of drawn out, and
it's a very visual way to learn about this.
Yeah.
The farmers then sell those crops to traders through open auctions with transparent pricing. Prices can also be informed.
Oh, just a sec here. It looks like your alarm's going off for some reason. All right, we'll just back up there just a smidge.
The farmers then sell those crops to traders through open auctions with transparent pricing. Prices can also be informed by the minimum support price, or MSP, a government price for crops like rice, cotton, wheat. The government only buys a couple of crops at these prices.
So is the MSP not for like every thing?
No, it's not for every crop. And I think that's maybe one of the reasons why those two particular crops skyrocketed is because they were covered under the MSP. Farmers had more of a safety net if they farmed these types of crops because they could be assured that minimum price.
Do you think farmers gravitated to growing those crops that were supported by MSP? And
I think so.
Like why they also skyrocketed, it's because you had more farmers growing those things because it was like, oh, it's safer for me to grow like rice than to stick with like passion fruit or something.
I don't know. That's the sense I got. That's the sense I got.
India,
or at least that was part of the puzzle. You guys will let us know. I'm sure there's many pieces.
Yeah.
In certain states, but those prices can still serve as a benchmark. The crops then go to secondary market or are stored by the buyers before they are sent out for future sales.
So buyers would be big corporations as well, though?
I suppose they could be.
Like a corporation might buy it in the mandi and then store it.
Yeah, I think so.
Or they go to like would that be like a farmer's market then?
Well,
I think some sort of market?
I think once they've sold it, then whoever's purchased it takes care of the rest.
Or a market could even be like maybe like a supermarket. They just like go straight to market. Or they're stored, I think.
No, remember they sell it in the mandi.
Traders do and
yes, but then for resale.
Then
they sell it to
the mandi, and then whoever purchases it through that system then is responsible for getting it to the people's mouths.
Yeah, they're not selling it to the public in the mandi. They're selling it to...
not that I'm aware of. Sort of a middleman, if you will.
Like the sellers.
Colluding with each other. The auctions actually are not competitive bidding.
But for the most part, the system works on a large scale because there's oversight that aims to protect farmers by giving them market standards.
They've been designed keeping in mind the fact that farmers are the weakest link and they can be exploited in numerous ways.
Over the years, state reforms have gradually redefined and regulated markets in different ways across India. In Punjab and Haryana, for example, they have become a vital part of the industry. And farmers here have the highest incomes in...
That's where they're used, the MSPs are used most in those regions. But not necessarily in like the rest of India.
As I understand it, yeah. And so in some ways, the folks from the Punjab, Haryana, and some of these more higher income states have the most to lose because they're also looking at other states where similar laws like this have been implemented.
That's why,
and it hasn't worked out so well.
That's why it's mostly Punjabi people protesting because these bills are affecting India as a whole country, aren't they?
They are.
Like they're countrywide.
But I think they've got the most to lose. Now, one of the videos I want to show you next actually is about Bihar, one of these provinces where similar laws like this were implemented
passed in the past, and then like what happened,
and so now they're coming to the Punjab to work because that's their own home province has been, as I understand it, devastated or at least really impacted in a bad way by similar sorts of laws. But anyways, I'm getting off track.
But in the state of Bihar,
maybe I'm not getting off track.
2006. And the farmers here are still ranked the poorest in India by income. And all of this is happening while there's a bigger farming crisis. The money in farming is disappearing. Since the days of the Green Revolution, agriculture has gone from accounting for nearly 50% of the economy to just 15%.
Wow.
Meaning,
so the Green Revolution was when the Americans sort of involved themselves. And then it's like... went down, went south since there.
I guess maybe, geez, I have a lot of thoughts on that, but I'm going to save it.
Millions of farmers already have trouble making ends meet in this shrinking economy. More than half of India's farming households are in debt.
Wow.
And this debt has contributed to a suicide crisis. In the last 2 years, more than 20,000 farmers have died by suicide.
Unreal.
Because of this economic hardship, farmers have been asking for reforms for decades. But this year, instead of providing more protections for this vulnerable
it just
community,
made it like
the
so
central
much
government
worse.
went in the opposite direction.
And farmers fear that the direction in which the reforms are happening are actually a direction of dismantling of the MSP.
So let's take a look at these 3 farming acts that sparked the protest. Each of them deregulates a different part of the system. The first act creates free, unregulated trade spaces outside the markets. The laws in these spaces would override wholesale market rules. And although a lot of trade takes place outside already, what happens in the markets remains a benchmark across the industry.
Yeah,
but
it sort of creates a foundation to look to, or sort of a standard, a minimum price, if you will.
Yeah.
Create 2 parallel markets with very different rules. One with oversight, and another that creates room for big corporate players to come in unregulated.
And in this dual market structure, the players in the regulated markets are bound to move out and operate in the deregulated spaces. And
Right. Drives them
farmers
out.
are going to lose out when these
That's what they
spaces
believe. Yeah.
collapse onto themselves.
The second act creates a framework for contract farming deals. Any business agreements would be strictly between farmers and traders with little oversight, giving farmers few options to fight bad deals. As these agreements increase outside of wholesale markets, they could further fragment the market and leave small farmers dependent on terms set by big corporations or be cut out of the industry altogether.
ਉਹ ਸਾਰੇ ਦੇ ਸਾਰੇ ਜਿਹੜੇ ਫੇਲ ਹੋ ਗਏ ਉਸ ਤੋਂ ਬਾਅਦ ਇਹਨਾਂ ਨੇ ਆਪਦਾ ਰੇਟ ਤੈਅ ਸ਼ੁਰੂ ਕਰ ਦਿੱਤਾ ਹੈ ਹੌਲੀ ਹੌਲੀ ਇਸ ਰੇਟ ਨੂੰ ਵਧਾਉਣਗੇ ਫਿਰ ਉਸ ਤੋਂ ਬਾਅਦ ਪੂਰੀ ਦੀ ਪੂਰੀ ਜਿਹੜੀ ਆ ਮੰਡੀ ਦੇ ਉੱਤੇ ਕਬਜ਼ਾ ਕਰਨਗੇ ਆਪਦਾ
मंडी आ जाएगी तो वो हमारा वो सिस्टम खत्म हो जाएगा.
The third act affects a different part of the chain.
Just based on the fact of what's the other region called?
Bihar?
Bihar. Just based on that, like alone, why would they think like why? Obviously, the government I think has its own agenda, but like if you just sort of look at it that way, sort of give them the benefit of the doubt, it's like, why would they think that it would have a different result than that?
That's a really good question.
So like it just leads me to think that they know it's not going to have a different result.
Maybe they feel that the problem up until now is all of India hasn't been doing this, because what I keep hearing
But
from
even though like the one
government is
region
sort of
that
like
did
one
it,
India,
like,
one rule kind of thing.
What?
And obviously hasn't worked out so well for the Bihar region.
Eliminates the storage limits previously set by the government to control prices. Unlimited storage means
they
that
did it
anyone
once,
with
didn't
enough
work,
money
like-
can stock up. The problem is, without oversight, they can also start dictating prices. Altogether, the 3 acts
They'll
invite big
control
players into a
the
fragmented and
monopoly,
deregulated market.
because then they can like hold and store a bunch of their food, and they can afford to. They don't have to like sell right away.
Yeah, well, I don't know if that's considered a monopoly, but it's
Isn't
certainly
it?
a way to drive prices either, say, up or down, depending on how much you're stockpiling. It can really screw with things. And keep in mind that a lot of these farmers, they don't have the income or the money or the ability to store things long term, right? So this is an advantage that they can't afford to have, like these big companies.
Could lead to volatile prices for farmers.
And by deregulating the markets, the government has also put out a message in the same breath, essentially saying that they think farmers don't need any protection anymore from the government.
But they've been relying on that protection.
On June 3rd, 2020, when the government announced the farming reforms, it didn't take long for the impact to be felt on the ground. Wholesale markets around the country have already seen fewer crops arrive in their market yards. In the state of Madhya Pradesh, more than 40 markets have lost business.
Trading has moved out of regulated market spaces, and it is not as though good prices are being fetched by farmers. And this is the context in which farmers' anger has to be understood. They didn't get what they wanted, and what was thrust down upon them is very different from what they were asking for.
And then let's not forget sort of the way in which it was passed. But that's all right. That's another video. You guys can check out our other video on that.
किसानों को इस कानून की जरूरत नहीं थी. इस कानून को रद्द किया जाए और जो हमारी मीटिंगें हुई हमारे नेताओं की उनके साथ, उसमें वो एक बात बोलते हैं, वो छल करते हैं.
ਇਹਨਾਂ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚੋਂ ਅਸੀਂ ਇਹ ਚੀਜ਼ਾਂ ਸਿੱਖੀਆਂ ਆ, ਸਾਡੇ ਗਾਂ ਆਉਣ ਵਾਲੀਆਂ ਪੀੜ੍ਹੀਆਂ ਨੂੰ ਵੀ ਅਸੀਂ ਬੱਚਿਆਂ ਨੂੰ ਵੀ ਇਹ ਗੱਲ ਦੱਸ ਰਹੇ ਆ ਕਿ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਆਪਣੇ ਹੱਕਾਂ ਦੇ ਲਈ ਲੜਨਾ ਜਿਹੜਾ ਆ ਵਾਜਬ ਆ. ਇੱਕ ਚਿੜੀ ਆ, ਉਹਦਾ ਜੇਕਰ ਕੋਈ ਆਲਣਾ ਵੀ ਤੋੜਦਾ ਆ,
That's a good analogy.
ਚੈ ਕਰਦੀ ਰੌਲਾ ਪਾਉਂਦੀ ਆ.
Right on.
Well, the Armenia and Azerbaijan war explained. I'd be interested in.
Yeah, there's lots of stuff we got to dig into here. So, yeah. Well, geez. Well, thanks so much, guys. No wonder you wanted us to check that out.
That was a good one. That was a different angle with the history in there. It was a really, and it's like good that we. Yeah, it just like it was the best timing for this video because we had seen the other videos and had sort of this knowledge, but it just
kind of pulled like some of the pieces really, together, which was really good. Because so as you guys know, we're just doing our best to sort of grasp at the edges here. We appreciate you coming on this journey with us. If you want to be part of that journey moving forward, then we're going to ask you to click that subscribe button, click the little bell icon, choose all from the drop down menu so you can get updated every time we upload a new video.
If you enjoyed this video, please let us know by clicking the thumbs up button and leave your thoughts, recommendations, comments down below.
Yeah, we love getting to know you guys a bit better. This is Internet Rabbit Hole Daily. IRH signing off.
Bye, guys.
Bye-bye, guys.